Hi, I'm Joseph Boakai Sr. This is me.
This is me. This is me. Yeah. This is me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You're watching This Is Me. I'm D. Curtis, and I'm sitting now here with my old man. Getting to know the old man even more. And when I mean old man, I'm talking about any other person, but someone that you know very well, someone that served, his country really well. There's no other but, Mr. Joseph Newman Boakai. Daddy, welcome, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for giving me the chance.
Thank you. How's everything been?
By the grace of God, it's good. Thank God.
That's good. So yeah, tonight we're just here to get to know about you. So for someone out there that will come across this video, what would you say, or who is, Joseph Nyeman Boakai?
Joseph Boakai is from Wasanga village, which is about 50 minutes drive from Foya,
Okay.
and right at the border between Sierra Leone and Liberia. Joseph Boakai, son of a handicapped mother.
Handicapped mother.
Who was eager for her son to go to school, but had no means. And so Joseph Boakai, for some coincidence, they singled him out as someone they thought needed to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
That was evident because right on my leg, saw grass cut me.
Wow.
And people feel traditionally saw grass cutting you is a normal thing. And it may so. And they concluded that this man, I don't think he belonged up country, but they didn't have the means. So I had a mother who had some problem with her toes. I see her losing her toes one by one. And there was no father around, 5 boys. But in our Kitsi tradition, the women name their children. So the name tells you what number you are. So Numa is the 5th son.
Right.
So I'm the only one alive now.
So what was it like growing up in Wasanga?
Very, very difficult. Very difficult. But I didn't spend much time in Wasanga. I was in and out.
Okay.
Because I had to go to school. So my mother had to give me to people to live with, and most of them uncles.
Okay.
And it wasn't the most easy life. I remember there was an uncle I was living with. He was so harsh that the funny thing is, they have these big wooden pan they used to make to do the palm nut. So I wanted to go back to my mother, so they had to put me under that pan so that my uncle would come. He would not see me, and then they would take me back to my mother. Then I ended up again going to Australia to another uncle.
So in order for you to go to visit your mom, they had to hide you from your uncle.
I was running away. Now just visit. I was just going.
So why were you running away though?
Because of the treatment, and
it
wasn't the best of condition.
Okay.
So we ended up going to Australia to another uncle, who was in Kenema, Sierra Leone. He was the head of the forestry department there. Mm-hmm. And he was another very, very difficult person. I mean, the beating, the thing. And he wasn't nice to his wife. And so every time he mistreated his wife, she paid back on me. Oh. So I was getting double punishment.
Right.
But then, fortunately, my uncle lived with a Fuller man while he was going to school.
Mm-hmm.
And this Fuller old man, I swear, every time we had difficulty living with my uncle, I ran away, went to the old man. There were a group of boys there, and so. But the problem is, at my uncle's place,
Right.
feeding was definite, because every day at least I would have something to eat. But the Fuller old man were many. So
Right.
we had a small bowl, big people, small people, all the poor food.
So big
And
people
those
and small
days you
people
eat
around.
with your hand. By the time you take 2 handfuls.
The food finish.
So up to today, I don't chew food because
You
the
just
faster you swallow, the faster you swallow, the more you
The
eat,
more you eat.
and your head small.
Especially your hands small.
So, if you see me eating, maybe slowly, it means that either I don't like the food or I'm okay. But
See,
once I have food,
you're good.
because it's the way I came up.
So
And I tell my children,
uh-huh.
I never had breakfast to go to school.
Wow.
They never went without breakfast because those days, breakfast, even after school, by the time you came back from school, they sent you to go break wood.
Right.
So, I mean,
So
you wore uniform,
Uh-huh.
The trousers, you were tear, and you were tied, and you don't even know the color, the original color of
Of the uniform.
But that's the way it went. And when you go to school in the morning, you have to haul water, do this. By the time I went to school, I was always late. And they had a way that time, you stood up if you're late until you're ready, and they'll put you on the back, give you a few lashes before they admitted you. But I went through that several
Wow.
times.
And that's in the
So I
school.
continue, but I was still in school, doing well, until I finally decided to come back to Liberia to my mother.
Let's stay back in Sierra Leone. What school did you attend when you
They
were
call it at that time CE School, Church of England School,
Church of England?
in Canada, way back.
What grade were you in? Or
And
how
I
old?
started my ABC from there,
From there.
and maybe went up to the 4th grade
Okay.
before I moved back to Liberia.
So while you were in Sierra Leone, did you learn Creole or?
I speak Mende fluently. I speak Creole. I understand few words of some of the dialects there.
So you still speak Creole?
So I'm not
up to
lost.
this
I'm
day?
not lost. No, not very well. I
So
speak.
you sabi talk Creole?
Boy.
You say hey boy. So
What you want make I teach you?
I am, but boy, the man don't bounce.
They say picking we not get nanny and daddy and what not by right.
I am, boy. The man they kill me. Take that with him because the other creator really talk.
So I came to my mom, and then there was an aunt. Her picture is right there.
Okay.
She was married to an old man, Boakai, who was the only black train operator with LMC.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother decided she would bring me.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked, her old mother and uncle, my father, and a half sister. Of course, back home in tradition, we don't call her half sister, sister of mine, but by father. So we walked from Foya to Bummy Hills. And I don't know how long we took because I was very small.
Transportation at that time, or you couldn't
Transportation, I said we walked because there was no road,
afford it?
no.
Road.
So we walked to Bummy Hills. I don't know how many weeks.
Wow.
So we got there. I was registered at the United Pentecostal Mission in Bummy Hill, Tottenham. That's where I went to school. And later on, my aunt decided to go back up country. And she insisted that I go back with her. I had wanted to remain, maybe go to the mission, ask the missionaries to stay with them. But my aunt said, I must go. And we went back. And while we were there, she went and settled somewhere in Sierra Leone. And she put a little table market for me to sell.
So when you're selling table
But
market,
but
what?
I told her that's not what I wanted to do. So one day my father went to visit, and I told my aunt, I was done. I want to go back to my mom. And there we left, went back to my mom. Fortunately, there was another uncle who used to be in Firestone, overseer for the rubber tappers in Division 9. And his wife was visiting up country. So they had to take me all the way to her. We walked again to Firestone. Those days there was no
transportation.
to walk again to Firestone. Unfortunately or fortunately, when I got there, I think they had a rule that when an overseer is losing workers, you can lose your job also. By the time I got there, he had lost his, they call it first boy, his head boy. And so they wrote my name, his place, to tap rubber.
That was when you started working as a robot tapper.
So, well, I didn't know how to tap rubber. So that means in the morning, he, his wife, myself will go. And while the wife is cleaning the cups,
Right.
and the two of us, we tapping because the work had to be done, and they knew I couldn't do it.
Right.
I did that for 2 months. But you know, the way the rubber tappers carry the rubber with that thing,
On the back.
you know where the 2 buckets,
Uh-huh.
and I couldn't do it. So what I did, I put the latex in the bucket and I put it on my head. And one day I just fell and the whole latex wasted on me.
Oh wow.
I had to run to the creek because you know latex after a certain time.
Right. Have to get it off real quick.
So I worked for 2 months, and the money I got was just enough to buy 2 pairs of short trousers and 2 shirts and pay my way to come to Monrovia. I wanted to go back to Bummy Hills.
Right.
Fortunately, I met a friend of mine who was running the clubhouse for the company. And actually, this friend of mine died some years ago. He happened to be the fellow whose daughter just married, Sikardine. So I met Sikardine with a pickup. And he said, where you coming from? I said, I came from up country. I want to go back to Bummy. So we got in the pickup, went to Bummy Hills. And then I went to the mission and offered myself to the missionaries. Said, I want to stay on the mission.
I know you're a married man now.
Very much so.
Yeah. So let's talk about your wife. And
My
your
wife,
children.
my wife is from Bummy County. And as I tell you, I attended the United Pentecost Mission, but I didn't meet her there.
How did you guys meet?
I came to CWA.
Okay.
That's another story completely.
We
I
here for
came
it.
to
This is great.
CWA, and while I was at CWA, it's interesting. My wife was attending Lakiri Mission,
Okay.
and at CWA, I was the class president for the 11th grade. And we had a talent show, and I had to send some students to go to Lakiri to participate in the talent show as the president of the class.
Okay. I was expecting you to say you perform something. I think.
No, we sent somebody who is dead now, a friend of mine who was a magician.
Okay.
Another fellow who was using joke making, and another fellow who was very talented. Yeah, some of them are around. And I sent them to Lakiri to participate. But then I was at the boys' dorm, CW, as a student. And interestingly, they came in the night and said, we won the first prize. I said, wow, won the first prize.
Congratulations, you selected the
And
right
by
people.
that time, my wife, she was being head of a class
Okay.
at the Kirin. So they brought a big pack of biscuit. That was the first prize. And you know, I didn't even wait to take up the wrapping.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw on the biscuit, dog biscuit in 5 varieties. So, wow. So, you know, people would send a dog biscuit for the first prize. And we were furious. The next morning, went to class. We had a class meeting. At that time, Gwendolyn Pierre, who was married to Bobby McKinney, was my class secretary.
Right.
And we wrote a letter, protest letter to Lakiri.
About the dog biscuit.
So on the delegation was Mrs. Boakai now.
Right.
They came to beg. And so they came first to ask her to participate, and they came to beg. At that time, I was attending the university. Now, we are graduated from CWA. Then she got to meet me on campus, and I could see that she had a crush on me.
You sure she don't want?
Yeah, she,
You sure she don't want her to
I
crush?
even got to go into that. But then we started, yeah. But you know,
So me, I want to go back.
I was,
How you picked up that she had a crush?
I don't know, I was, for some reason, I had always been very shy.
Okay.
So even while I was at CWA, I never really, because I was focused. Because the first thing, my going to CWA was, God divine, because I didn't have the money, and I went as janitor,
Right.
and I knew CWA was very strict, so I didn't have time to get involved in girlfriend, this thing. And furthermore, I was there moving from one position from janitor in the library, from there to the business office. So I know the girls used to want to be friendly, but I was keeping focus. So
So that whole thing.
so we went to the university, and I was sitting down one day, and she just came, shook my hand, and I shook her hand. You remember me? I said, no. So you don't remember me? I said, no. Then she gave a narrative of how we were over there. I mean, she participated. I said, okay. But then we happened to be in the same class. Those days at the university, we were many students, limited seats. But when you are a good student, people always save seat for you.
That's right.
So every time she went to class first, she would save a seat for me.
Okay.
So you see there.
Yeah. So that's how you started to pick up that she have a crush. Okay.
Then,
I see.
and from there, I was at the boys' dorm, now going to LU every night. Then she and her friend would go visit me. There was a white lady that also was one of our teachers at the school who used to befriend me. And they made sure they cut her off completely. So we started being friendly. She was living with her uncle. He used to visit from CW dorm. And we got engaged when we were in the senior class.
So you people got engaged while you guys
Got
were in
engaged, and then subsequently got married in 1972, the very year we graduated from the university.
That's how many years today?
What?
How many years today?
I tell you, July 29 will make me 50 years married
50 years married.
to the same woman.
remarkable.
Yeah. And 40 years in this very house.
In this very house.
Yeah.
So how many children you guys parents?
We got 3 boys and girls, you know, some of them are adopted. I mean, girl, but I feel they are just as much as my biological children.
Right.
And so that's how we are, 3 boys and a girl. Yeah.
So at this moment, it seems like you don't want to have crush on her more now. Okay.
Well, you know, when you live together for this long,
Right.
You don't think about who I crush and who I mean. so, so we've been together, and we've adopted our children. So a lot of people carry our name. Some of them we didn't go through formal adoption, but once they live with us, just like my name changed to Boakai when I lived with old man Boakai, I was not adopted.
Right.
But we've been together for that long.
So 50 years of marriage is a very long time, especially looking at marriage these days. What would you say been your anchor? What kept you guys moving this strong and still vibrant in a love?
You know, I tell people, when people divorce, they say for incompatibility.
Right.
And I said, I don't think the God who created us really thought that two people from a very different background
Right.
would become compatible.
Right.
Even twins will not be compatible. What is it is that you are complementary.
Right.
It means that what you don't have, the next person bring to the table.
Right.
So you have to understand that I always joke when I see a hot-tempered man and a calm woman get married, and I call it rum and coke.
Rum and coke.
Something
Okay.
high and something low.
Right.
So it's complementary. You are one thing, somebody else is something else. So you have to learn to manage to understand that you are complementing each other.
Right.
That's why people say, oh, the man means the woman is kind, the man is hot-tempered, but that's what life is about.
Right.
It's a give and take.
Right.
And I understand that very well. And we understand that too.
Okay. We're going to transition to some of the things that actually help you or influence you for you to be where you are today. I think I remember hearing somewhere that you dropped out of school for like 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
So how did you muscle the courage? Dropping out 3 times, how did you muscle the courage to pick yourself back up and acquire the education that you got today?
It's determination. You want to do something, you make up your mind, you want to be it. So I dropped out of school because I couldn't afford it. And, you know, normally you have people who try to counsel you, oh, well, we understand, you can't afford it, why not drop? I never say no to them. I said, okay, I will do it.
Right.
But I knew I was determined not to do it, to pursue it.
Right.
So that's what happened. The last time I dropped school, I went to up country.
Mm-hmm.
I had completed the 8th grade, and I was teaching at the Swedish mission in Foya in the grade school.
Right.
But I decided I would come back to school. And that when I came, I went to CWA. I took the test. In fact, when I got there,
The test that you paid
they say $1, I mean $2. I only had $1.
Right.
So I met a cousin there who gave me the other $1, and I took the exam and passed. We were only 2 made it for the 9th grade.
Wow.
And so that was the beginning, because when I passed the exam, those days, school closed in December, open in March. And so after taking the exam and passing, the next thing, where will you get the money from to go to CWA at that time?
Right.
It was one of the most expensive, and people used to consider the school of the elite. So I had to look for a job. At that time, Rivoli used to have 3 shows a day.
Right.
And I applied there in the restaurant. And the fellow there asked me, how much you want me to pay you? I said, $75. I said, go, I don't want to see you. I tried to beg and said,
asking for too much.
I went home, I knelt down and said, God, why did I ask for that kind of big money? I wrote him a letter of apology.
Right.
It was like I was blaspheming by asking for that.
Too much.
So I had to apologize.
Yeah.
I went there with a letter. The guy said, I'll give $36. I said, thank you. So I had to look for money as a waiter to get one pair of black shoes, borrow money to buy socks, white shirt, black pants. But you know, life is interesting. Every time you cross one bridge, you meet another.
Right.
When I got there, I met a Samson fellow who was head of our team. And I went, and the first day he said, you know, when you work in a restaurant, you expect to serve and get a little tip. But Samson told me strictly, you'll be in the kitchen washing dishes, you're not going to serve.
And they call you eating more.
No, but when something was not there, I went out and
you
served
went
and got value. So, but you know, I couldn't be going to CWA at that time and working from 3 o'clock to 1 in the morning because that was the last shift. So I had to leave the job and then took a janitor job at CWA.
Right.
I was living on Front Street until one Mr. Dennis, William Dennis, Uncle Reed, they used to call him. Very nice man. He like adopted me and he arranged for me to move to CWA dorm. And this is very important.
Right.
I got there that day and I knelt down. I said, God, if I ever leave school again for any reason, I will never come back. And from that day to this date, I went through CWA, went through the university. I was still at CWA working there in the business office now. So all of these, my friends, they all know I sold them uniform, I collect comments and all.
So you make comments?
Comments, I mean, all of them. I used to work in the morning. I go up in the business office, I sell them uniform, I collect their tuition, I register them. Then we all go to class, and after class I come back, I do it. And after school I wait for them more. You know, students go with their tuition, their pocket. But at CWA there, 9th grade, I was the chaplain of the class. The 10th grade, I was senior senator of the class. We used to have 2 senators per class. 11th grade, I was class president. 12th grade, I was president of the school. And at the same time, I was head of the boys' dorm.
This is like born a leader.
I was head of the boys' dorm.
Right.
And when I completed, I started going to university. I became assistant dean of boys. And that's how I met Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Because her 2 children, Charles and Jess, who died, they were at the dorm.
Right.
So she and her husband used to take time going there. So I worked until I got in the senior year at the university. Then I got married. That's how I left and moved into an apartment.
Right. So did Ellen ever once taught you? Was she?
Yes, Ellen was at the Ministry of Finance, deputy minister.
Okay.
When we were in the senior class at the university, and she taught a course they called the Dean course. The course was to teach people who wanted to be entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And then she did. And she even encouraged me at that time to go to finance upon graduation. But by that time, I had accepted to work with LPMC through the encouragement of Mr. Minor, Charles Minor. Because Minor met me and he encouraged me to come and work for LPMC. So Ellen did teach me.
So that's how you guys met?
We met through the dormitory where her children were.
Right.
And then I was at the university. And because I was at the university and at the same time serving their children at CWA, there was a close connection between us.
Okay. So you want to, is it safe to say it was as a result of that connection that catapulted into you serving as a vice president?
It started a relationship.
Okay.
Because even when I left school, I went to Lofa, I worked, I came back, I moved on to be Minister of Agriculture. Ellen's husband, Doug Sirleaf, became one of my deputy ministers. I was the youngest minister of agriculture. To this date, all my deputies, assistant ministers are gone, but actually were one of those.
Wow.
And he lived right here in this neighborhood. So his son, who was with the NSA, and my two boys grew up together right in this community.
As a father, what's the proudest moment you've had with your kids?
Well, the fact that uh, you had a wife and you had children, and my children were brought up in an atmosphere that almost everybody that entered this house is called an uncle or aunt.
Right.
And that one day my children never ever heard an abusive word in this house,
Wow.
or never saw us making fuss. And so we believe that we were able, and I told my children, you will never go to school outside this country until you finish college, because I want you to make your friends and to know that it's the country you will serve. And that happened. They went to school here. They made their friends here. They went out of the country to get their second degree, and they are here. And I believe we're able to accomplish that.
And then one of them used to get you a hot time, like the one that we used to.
Well, you know, you not they are, but the interesting one is Tamba. When I was Minister of Agriculture, it was compulsory on Fridays to go dressed in a military uniform. I think you will see some of it here.
Right.
And one day, I got dressed on Friday, and Tamba asked me, Daddy, where's your gun? Because he knows soldier men supposed to have guns.
Oh wow.
I said, I don't have a gun. He said, where's your knife? I said, I don't have. He said, but then you play soldier.
Oh.
So he was just somebody cute, but there wasn't anything about the normal children behavior, yes, but our children came out very well. And we had a good family.
That's great. So with your mom, you know, having your mom who pretty much did everything, worked as the mother and the father in the home, what would you say is that one memory from growing up with your mom?
Well,
that
she
stuck with
was
you
the
today?
only friend I had,
The only
and
friend.
I never had a vacation because even at CWA, when school closed, I had to stay at the dorm to do small jobs to maintain myself, to pay my little extra expense. So my vacation was 1 week, the day before Christmas and New Year, because I had to come back to come and do vacation job. So when I did go, I went to my mother. As much of a handicap she was my friend.
Right.
She was the one who cared for me. And so to this day, even when I established a business, I call it Lusu Resource Corporation. Her name was Lusu. And she was the best friend I had. And there wasn't anybody around, no father. So she was the only person I had. My brothers were there. So, and they were all show love in their own way. But, you know, up country life, they all embraced me. They celebrated me, but they didn't have the means. So my mother provided that love that wasn't there. And she was the best friend I had.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So for somebody that, you know, see you today and say, oh, former VP, we see the glam, we see the achievement, we don't see all these things that you've gone through. You were a rubber tapper, a waiter, a clerk, book salesman, all these things. What would you say to a young person out there that has been looking at you as, you know, the former VP of the Republic of Liberia, and also running or potential candidate.
I don't think these days people learn by those things. People see you as a success story, that somebody who, so sometimes it's hard for them to even believe these things. Yeah. But, you know, for me, what it does to me, it gave me the passion.
Right.
So when I'm riding car now, air conditioned, and I'm looking out, I'm seeing people who are part of my story. So I know what they go through. They won't understand it because this society have had a lot of cut off time that young people didn't have the opportunity to learn. When Mr. Taylor launched his war and cut the young people off,
Right.
And some of them became young adults, they missed the opportunity of living with their parents,
Right.
and then they missed the opportunity of even being in an urban area, living with people. And so these young people, they're caught up. Sometimes I call them the neither nors. They are not part of the old time. They're not part of this time. So they're
Yeah.
just, and this is a delicate group of people that need attention, that need mentorship. These are people that people need to understand their story in a different way. We just take them, we condemn them, we say, but they have a special situation because they were cut off from the normal parental guidance and also banned from being part of this society now.
Yeah.
And so you gotta have to have compassion on them. But sometimes maybe I take a lot of time because every time you encounter them is an opportunity
Right.
to educate them,
Right.
not to condemn them, but to educate them,
Right.
to know that, you know, I had a situation as vice president.
Mm-hmm.
One of my classmates, his name is Noah Duchesne. It's a Haitian background.
Right.
His father was a medical doctor. And he visited me in my office. And after we talked a long time, he heard my life story. And he said, now I see the reason my father took me from here and sent me to Cape Mount to St. John.
Mm.
He said, I didn't know there were people like you who were going to school who were catching real hard time.
Right.
But I was I was just living. So my father wanted me to experience. So sometimes there are people, when they talk about hunger, they just read it in a book. They don't know it.
Right.
We felt it. A lot of people see you today, they just think they come to play like this, they see. But we all have history behind it. But sometimes you think the hardship you went through, but God was
Preparing
putting you
Yeah.
through. So, and
Preparing
I bless that.
Right.
Because to come from where I come from, to go through CWA, to come to be who I am, I think God was mentoring me.
Yeah.
So I know what it means to be without and what it means to even be without and discipline yourself
Right.
to know the difference between what is yours and what is not yours. So it might sound like you came through a difficult time, but I think God has a hand in it, that
Yeah.
He can use you as an example
Yeah.
of someone who can come. And that's why I say it is not to be born rich or poor is an accident.
Right.
Nobody said that to choose.
Right.
But how you end up
That's
is an
something you
achievement.
contribute
And I feel very, very happy and grateful. Nobody is grateful for going through difficulties,
Right.
but grateful for what that difficulty produces in you.
I share similar sentiment, coming from Liberia, fleeing the war, going to Sierra Leone, Guinea, all these places as a refugee. and now I'm opportune to sit with somebody as yourself. It means a lot, and I appreciate it. So we've had all these great moments that you know, getting to know about you. I want to know how you relax. What do you do for fun?
You're talking about dancing.
Oh, you,
I never grew up as a normal child. I used to like sport,
uh-huh.
but you have to know when you're not you come from there
Right,
with silver spoon. You
right.
got to know. You have to understand in life who you are not.
Who
If
you are
you're
not.
not a normal person, don't want to do it. No. If you didn't grow up with parents to take care, you got to know that
Right.
you have to live, you have to do that. So I didn't grow up going to a nightclub, dancing, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Always strict business, trying to be somebody.
Right.
And so, but I love music. I'm a lover. You see here?
I see.
I'm a lover of music.
So who
I
who are
like
some
the
of the
oldies.
who are
You
some of the
looking
people
here, you see? Eh?
who are some of the people you listen to? Oldest. Let's go back
Oh
to
boy,
oldest.
I did listener of Nat King Cole, Belafonte, and all of these. So I'm not too much with a new type, boom, boom, boom. I
Right.
like music with words,
What
with
words?
words. We learn to do music with romantic words and things, and that's
Right.
what I listen to.
Are you able to sing one of your favorite lines for me or
Well,
bars?
I'm not saying I'm a singer, but I
Just.
know I follow the songs.
Uh-huh.
I follow with Nat King Cole sing Mona Lisa,
Uh-huh.
and I I do follow. But I love music. I love sport. Uh, you see that TV is on the football channel. My team is Arsenal,
Awesome.
and
Okay.
I'm not just Arsenal by just membership. You will see I'm connected with them.
Uh-huh.
You go in the office there, you will see when they send me
Yeah,
a
Jesse and
thank
everything.
you flag,
Okay.
and you see I even went to the Arsenal Stadium and we put a big banner there, Arsenal Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
I love sport, I love music, I love to read, even though nowadays I love to write. And one of the things that they don't teach in school much now, poetry.
Writing.
So I write poems when I used to have the chance. Uh, I like anything that is educational. Nothing passes by my ear. Even if I'm listening on the radio and I have the good use of some word, I want to define it. I don't stop learning.
Okay.
Not like some people who just take a vacation. Education is good.
Right.
It's not just to make money. But I know if I'm in a prison today and I can read and write, and somebody there who cannot read and write, I think I will spend my time better than they
It will.
because I can keep occupied.
Yeah.
Education and quality education, something that we're missing these days.
Right.
I think everybody just think that money is all to life.
Right.
But yes, money is needed. But quality of life comes from satisfaction of the mind, living at peace with yourself, making sure that you create opportunity for other people.
Right.
That's what I enjoy.
Nice. So what would be your last word to our viewing audience?
Well, you know, every time people talk about a presidency,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking for presidency. I'm looking for an opportunity to serve this country,
Mm-hmm.
to give our young people the opportunity. The society had been robbed. They had not been shown love. Nobody concerned about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is necessary to have a leadership that cares. That's why I got a one. I like to write when I think about things,
Mm-hmm.
and I just said, think Liberia, love Liberia. That's what I believe.
Right.
That if I can think about this country, love it, we can build it in honesty. So people who think about, and one thing I know, this God we serve, don't overlook him. He knows the heart. He knows something in your heart and he can make people know it.
Right.
And so today, people who don't know me, they talk about me
Right.
because God knows what is in this heart.
Right.
That I want to see this country become one of the best. And we can't do it by breaking it down and trying to build empires and how many houses do you need to live? And you think you want to just live by renting a house to people?
Right.
But where are the people coming from?
Right. And how would
If
they
you
pay?
build a country, you will see yourself being built. And that's why life is. You will let people or you yourself will move along with them.
I've heard some of your supporters say that if given the opportunity and elected, president of the Republic of Liberia, that you only serve for 3 years. Is that something you like?
I
to
never
confirm?
gave them 3 years.
You won't do that. You serve for your
I
whole
didn't
term.
give it to you. I said 1 term.
1 term.
Unless where they reduce the term to 3 years.
Okay. So is there a reason why you rather serve for just 1 term?
The reason is, you see me at this time going through all I went through,
Right.
working for yourself from elementary, high school, college. You don't think by now, naturally, you should be tired. But God got me in this, and I think the first time would be to set an agenda for people to know that this country can become a better country for all by example.
Right.
That's all I want to do.
Right. Just want to build a
That's
foundation.
just see it. See the people know that you don't got to be my relative. You don't have to be my friend. You don't have to be anything to become a Liberian living a happy life. To see that you don't have to steal people money to be. But people need to see it. It's not just, we talk about it so much,
Right.
but they want to see
They
it.
want to see
But the only way you can see it is by being there.
and being
And
proud of
so it's so interesting that Liberians, they take what you say and they misunderstand it. So he asked me, what can you do as president that you couldn't do as vice president?
Right.
I say, you want to see a race car, put it on the racetrack,
Right.
not in the garage. So they say, the man said, we're parking the car. Does that sound like it? How do you know the car is a race car if he parked in the garage? It should be put on the racetrack.
You're not afraid to run.
So it means that I was vice president. Vice president role is defined. But when I'm president, you will see who Joe Boakai is. So all the things you believe, the man that quiet man, the man sleep, the man that, you will know the truth. But you can't know it because you still believe the thousand things we done. They say he did nothing. So this man is coming to publish some of the things that we did that they don't even know but we're not there to have competed with the president to show you vice president, you stay in your lane.
Right.
And I did that very well.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, getting to know your story. I'm definitely inspired, and I hope, the story will inspire a lot of people. I took some time to get to know a little bit more about you. I was even going to ask you about Uncle Fire. And Uncle Fire that got fired for stealing. And
Uncle Fire died, honestly speaking, Uncle Fire died years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear
And what happened to Uncle Fire, when I had my office at the Pan African Plaza, Uncle Fire was coming to look for me for some reason. A vehicle almost
Wow.
killed him, and he came. And that was the first time he told me that it was because he used to steal that bread and
Right.
put it in the bucket for me. And I took him to him. So we had him a little house in Carwell. And then during the Ebola, he got sick.
Wow.
He wasn't sick of Ebola.
Mm.
So I put him in the hospital. And when he died, I appealed to Dr. Goningali to let him know that Uncle Faya did not die of Ebola. And she gave me a chance to bury him. I like to be grateful to people who, anybody.
Right.
So we gave him a decent burial. But Uncle Faya did something for me that he was worthy
Right.
of being honored.
I want to know this. What's your favorite Liberian dish?
Cassava leaf.
Cassava leaf? Okay. You know how to cook it, or you just know how to eat it?
You know, I I haven't. I know. I work with women, and they drill me. They cook. They tell you do this. I know how to do it.
So,
I haven't done so. I go by the Bible. The Bible gives special job for men
right.
in the house
Okay.
to make coffee.
Oh, okay.
If you want to challenge that, the book is called Hebrews.
All right.
And you only brew coffee?
Yeah. It's
I don't cook myself because too many people, there are certain things you got to give chance to other people to do.
Right. So the cassava leaf, is it when it's freshly cooked or like the cool rest?
You know, you asked a very good question. When I was growing up, I don't care how to cook kazali. I'm going to let it get cool and warm it again with the rice and enjoy it.
Right.
Now I don't do that, but cool what? But I'm a lover of greens, kazali green, realist.
Nice. Well, thanks again.
Thank you for all the problems we have gone through to do this, but I never shy away from. I want truth. I will not lie to you, so I tell you, I don't hide from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I hope you learned a lot from our honorable servant. I learned a whole lot, and stay tuned for the next.
This is me. This is me. Yeah. No one else can tell my story. No one else but me. Oh yeah. This is me. This is me. Yeah. Get to know who I am from me. 'Cause this is me.
Who would you love to see on This Is Me?
Huh?
Who would you love to see on This Is Me?
On this?
Yeah, who would you love to see on This Is Me?
Well, if he's in the role of what you're doing,
Right. Who?
Mr. Snyder,
Okay.
Charles Snyder, been buddies for years, and someone who believes in me, and someone who has given a lot of his time, and that's his area.
Right.
The first Liberian that set up his own radio station,
Right.
and up to now he's struggling with it because anytime you belong to Joe Boakai, you're an enemy of the state. But he hasn't given up. You see, with all of the difficulty, you see his personal patriotic front still coming. They're not the national, they're the personal patriotic front.